Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of the demo A Creation of Ripping Death by the death thrash band Devastation. This is their debut album, and it was released in 1986. So before I get into the songs, I'm going to name off the band members really quickly. Pat Buxley on drums, Troy Dixler on vocals, Frank Keimpy on bass, and Irv Brodingham on guitar. So this demo opens up with an absolutely fantastic title track of the band, Devastation. It starts off with a sort of a slow intro, this sort of cool wind sound effect. And then it builds up and it goes into the main riff of the song. And wow, what a great build up to the actual song. And the main riff is really cool as well. Just this really cool death metal but thrash metal at the same time, heavy but also kind of a catchy riff. The solo in the song is fantastic as well. Really wild and chaotic, and just has so much energy to it. Probably my favorite sort of style of guitar solo for this type of metal. You know, I'd say death thrash as well as a blackened thrash metal, or even that kind of thing. I love the more wild and chaotic, crazy guitar solos and that kind of stuff. Yeah, just a great song, great atmosphere too, and Troy Dixler's vocals are absolutely fantastic. I'll talk more about his vocals during just my my overall thoughts. Yeah, great vocals, and the drums are great as well. Overall, fantastic opening track. Next up is the song "Awakened from Death." Yeah, this demo just gets better and better and better with each song. "Awakened from Death" is fantastic. Another great just main riff, heavy, thrashy. Again, great vocals, wild, chaotic guitar solo. But my favorite part of the song comes up near the midsection of it, where the riff actually changes, and then it goes into this even thrashier, catchier, but even heavier riff that just it lasts for a little less than a minute, but it really, I love the switch in the pacing and the way it transitions into that specific riff and then slowly goes back to the actual main riff. But yeah, just a really great song. And again, another great not atmospheric, but it has an atmosphere to it. I wouldn't necessarily call this atmospheric in terms of just an atmospheric death thrash or anything like that, but just a great, I just love the way it is. Just another fantastic song. Next up is actually my favorite song on the demo, "Beyond Fear." It's my favorite Devastation song ever. Oh my god, what a great song! Like, it starts off right away, like it just gets right into it, with this really cool, very it has an odd tuning to it, but this really cool sort of back and forth bouncing riff. It's not the main riff, but it's weird. It's only a couple of notes and it goes back and forth, and then it goes into the actual main riff. Excuse me, as well as the vocals kicking in right away. Just a really great song. Probably, I'd say, the fastest, or maybe one of these two are the fastest song. I'd say "Beyond Fear" is probably the second fastest song on here. Yeah, oh my god, the riffing on this one is I don't know, the riffing on all of these is fantastic, but on this one especially, it just has a really great groove to it and thrashiness. And I just love it. It's just a very memorable riff. The main riff is great, and then kind of like with "Awakened from Death," it goes into a secondary riff that that is after the solo, and it's even it's even more thrashy, more catchy, just a really great, memorable riff. Again, alongside the main riff as well. And Troy Dixler's vocals are even more aggressive and even more guttural on this song than the ones before it. And then track number 4, the final track, Apocalyptic Warrior. This is the only song that's not featured on any other thing they did. They did two other releases, a second demo, and a first full-length album. And neither of those have this song on it for some reason, but it's a shame because it's one of their best songs. Apocalyptic Warrior, I absolutely love. This is probably the fastest song on the entire demo. And the drum work definitely is my favorite drum work off of any Devastation song. One of my favorite aspects of the drumming on this song is how it's structured within the actual song itself. So you have these moments that pop up a couple of times on this song, where you have this really fast, just continuous drum rhythm. But like it's sort of in the middle of the mix. Like the instruments, the other instruments and the vocals are sort of like more up front. The drums aren't all the way in the back, but they're sort of in the middle. And then once in a while, they'll have these moments where the drums actually move to the forefront, and the other instruments and the vocals move towards the middle of the mix. And then the drums, they continue. And then everything stops for a couple of seconds while Troy Dixler shouts the title of the song, and then everything starts back up again. All the instruments go from not sort of just silence back up to actually going on again. I love how that's constructed, and I love how the drums sort of move in and out of the front of the mix and the middle of the mix, back to the front and back to the back again. Just a really cool way they put that together. And I love, my favorite part of the song, actually, I love all of it, but I'd say probably the most, like, I guess, memorable part, probably for a lot of people, is the mid portion of the song to the end portion of the song. Like, the song, like, it has, like, this, it has its rhythm stuff, but right after the solo, or not right after, but soon after the solo, the song sort of slows down, stops for a second, and then sort of fades in again, but with a completely different rhythm. And then that goes on for a bit. And then near the very end of the song, you have these two lyric verses of a first verse and a second verse Troy Dixler does. And just the way the vocals are, it's just very sort of like, they kind of sound like, I don't know how to describe it, but like, it's like, it is a very cool sort of, rhythm to it, and the way he presents these vocals near the end of the song, and it's just very cool, and just the way he words everything and stuff like that. It's sort of like very, very fast paced, just boom, 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 and just the way it is. It's just very it's just structured very cool, and just it's very interesting. And then the song ends. Yeah, I mean, even though Beyond Fear is my favorite song in terms of just overall, I'd say Apocalyptic Warrior is my favorite song in terms of how everything is structured. Like, the structuring and just the different, like, ways the song sort of ebbs and flows and just goes into different parts and just flawlessly goes into others. It's probably the most interestingly structured song they've ever done. But yeah, great and also it's pretty epic too. Great way to end the demo. So, my overall thoughts, this is a really, really fantastic demo, or debut demo from this band. Unfortunately, they didn't last long. I think they lasted from 1986 to 1987, so about only 2 years. But within those 2 years, they actually put out more than you would expect. This demo, a second demo, and then a first and only full-length album, which actually wasn't released until it was featured on a compilation album called hold on, I have it right here. It's called A Legacy of Ripping Death. Actually, this came with this. This is their, of course, their debut demo, but then this compilation has their first full-length album as well as their second demo and a couple of live shows. But yeah, this band didn't last long, but the stuff that they put out is great. And again, a very, very fantastic debut demo. Troy Dixler's vocals now, he would actually get replaced shortly after this this demo was released. He would move on to another band called Syndrome. And that band was pretty short-lived as well, and then I don't think Troy Dixler did anything else after that. But yeah, it's one of my favorite debut demos of all time. Also, oh yeah, I almost forgot. I was gonna say something about it, but then I almost forgot. Troy Dixler's vocals, actually compared to the replacement vocalist, which I'll get more on when I review the actual compilation album, Legacy of Ripping Death. But his vocals are really cool. They're not like super guttural like a lot of death metal vocals like were during the very late 80s and maybe up to the mid 90s. But he definitely has a little bit of a guttural rasp to his vocals, as well as a really just eerie sort of raspy snarl as well. Just a really great sort of mixture of more of the heavy, slightly sort of death metal-esque kind of thrash vocals alongside very early death metal vocals. I mean, this was 1986, and the vocals very much sound like what you would expect, death metal vocals to sound like, around the late 80s / early 90s. But this is mid 80s, 1986. But yeah, Troy Dixler, has become one of my favorite death metal vocalists, or even just death thrash as well. Really fits the style of music. The instrumentation by everyone involved is fantastic. The bass you can actually hear the bass on these tracks. The guitar work is absolutely fantastic. Actually, I still can't pronounce his last name, but whatever, something last name that I can't pronounce. His guitar work is fantastic. Really great, memorable riffs. Just great chaotic solos. I mean, this guy was just born to play death thrash. And then the drums are awesome as well. The production is great. It's this really cool, stripped down, just bare bones, raw death thrash production. Stuff I feel like you would hear in this kind of thing during the mid to late 80s. Similar, and I'd say the production is sort of similar to the first demo by another death thrash band, Morbid Scream. Although I'd say this is a little bit more sort of unrefined than that demo. I think that demo has a little bit more refined sound than this one, but it's similar, I guess, in production sound. Every single song on here, all 4 songs are fantastic. I don't dislike any of them, and I don't like one more than the other. They're all equally fantastic. Yeah, overall, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10. One of the best death thrash recordings ever. Whether not just demos, but anything death thrash or anything just that style. It's absolutely fantastic. And if you haven't heard it yet, definitely check it out. Although don't get confused with the name of this one and the second one, because I know there's a lot of people that do get confused because the names are similar and the artwork is very similar. Like this one is called A Creation of Ripping Death, and then their second one is called A Recreation of Ripping Death, and the artwork for both is the exact same artwork. It's just the second one is like recolored, like the Devastation logo is in blood red on that one rather than just black, but everything else is pretty much the same. So I can see why people definitely will get confused. about which demo is which. But yeah, overall, an absolute masterpiece of death thrash in my opinion, and Devastation has become the ultimate death thrash band in my opinion, and yeah, it's my favorite death thrash band now. Yeah. Oh, also something I forgot to mention. This demo does come on a 7-inch vinyl, and it's actually a colored vinyl. I almost forgot to show this, but hold on, this gets stuck. There we go. It's this really cool translucent bright red. Oh, it kind of looks dark red on camera, but I guess if you hold it up to the light, it's actually bright red, but the lighting on this camera and in my room is not the best. You can see a little bit better like that, but yeah, it's awesome. Anyway, but yeah, it's an absolute masterpiece in my opinion, a 10 out of 10. I highly, highly recommend it. If you love death thrash, definitely check this out. But yeah. So that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.